Hello friends, the topic for today's lecture is noise or artifacts in bioelectrical signal recordings. Before directly moving over to the noise part, let's first look at the basic block diagram used for the computer-aided analysis of biomedical signals. Starting with the source of signal, mainly the patient or the experimental subject. The signal here can be any signal. For example, it can be an EEG signal, an ECG signal, or an EMG signal, etc. The figure shows typical steps involved in computer-aided diagnosis and therapy based on these biomedical signals. The first stage in the signal data acquisition that mainly gives the data which we need to process or analyze is the signal data acquisition. Signal acquisition procedures may be invasive or non-invasive and active or passive. Invasive procedures involve the placement of transducers inside the body, such as the needle electrodes. Mainly, non-invasive procedures are desired in order to minimize the risk to the patient. For example, recording of ECG using limb or chest electrodes, as it does not involve any kind of invasion of the body. Active data acquisition procedures require external stimuli to be applied on the subject. For example, recording visual ERP signal requires the delivery of flashes of light to the subject or to the patient. Now, passive procedures do not require the subject to perform any kind of activity. For example, recording the EEG signal during sleep using scalp surface electrodes. Now, the first component that is used in acquiring data is the transducer. It is an instrument which actually changes one form of energy to the other. Here we are mainly interested in the transducers which gives us electrical signal as output. Now next is the isolation amplifier. As we have connected the human subject, means the patient, with the electrical signal, there is a need of an isolation so that even by mistake the electrical potential of the instrument is not injected back to the patient. So we should have isolation amplifiers. It will also do the job of amplification of the signal along with providing a weak link if a high potential comes in. The isolation amplifiers are followed further by amplifier, maybe amplitude or voltage amplification, and filters. And then we have analog to digital conversion. Basically, it will convert the analog signal into a digital signal using sampling and quantization, because we are more interested in digital signal for processing part. So next part is the signal processing. Mainly here it will be digital signal processing. As we know, digital signal processing is more advantageous over analog signal processing. The first part is artifact or noise removal in signal processing. This we will discuss more in coming slides. Now next is the detection of events and components depending upon the type of biomedical signal, that is whether it corresponds to an EEG signal, ECG signal, etc. So these two, noise removal and detection of events, are the two main components of signal processing block. After that is the signal analysis part. It involves feature extraction and analysis of the events and waves as its first step. Then next we have to implement different algorithm for pattern recognition, classification, and then to identify the problem if any, and finally produce the diagnostic decision. That information will be given to the physician or a medical specialist who can better understand the situation and can give the required treatment to the patient if it is needed. So this is the overall diagram, and in this, artifact or noise removal plays a very important role as it is the first building block of the signal processing part. It can also be said that it is doing the conditioning of the signal. Now next, let's discuss what are the main sources of noise in these bioelectrical signal recordings. What is noise? Any signal other than that of interest could be termed as interference, artifact, or simply noise. The sources of noise can be physiological, it can be due to the instrumentation used or the environment of the experiment. The physiological interference. The human body is a complex conglomeration of several systems and processes. Several physiological processes may be active at a given instant of time, each one producing many signals of different types. A patient or experimental subject may not be able to exercise control on all physiological processes and systems. The appearance of such signals may be termed as physiological interference. Some examples are like movements related to coughing, breathing, or squirming that affects the ECG signal. It can be maternal ECG getting added to the fetal ECG of interest, or it can be ECG interfering with EEG. It can be the heart sounds getting mixed with breathing or lung sounds, because as we can say heart sounds if we are interested in, so that breathing and lung sounds can be the noise in that particular signal. Now next is the noise due to instrumentation used. Due to the weak levels of most biomedical signals at their source, high amplification factors are required. So electronic noise in the instrumentation amplifier also gets amplified along with the desired signal. There can also be the thermal noise due to heating of instruments or components. So they contribute to the instrumentation noise. Now next can be the environment of the experiment. Our environment is filled with electromagnetic waves that can be natural or man-made. Electromagnetic waves broadcast by the radio and television stations and those radiated by fluorescent lighting devices, computer monitors and other systems used in the work environment can be picked up by cables, devices and connectors. Such interference may be termed as being due to the environment of the experiment. Now some noises can be removed or reduced, for example by using low noise frequency amplifiers or power supplies, modern electronic amplifiers, high common mode rejection ratio, or we can also reduce EM waves by shielding of cables, etc. But in some cases these noise levels could be much higher than that the signal levels. Therefore it requires a special filtering or processing unit for the signal. Further, let's discuss about some particular noises in ECG and EEG signals. So starting with the EEG signal. First is the noise in event related potentials. As we know, ERP is a signal obtained in response to a stimulus. The response is usually of very small amplitude, say approximately 10 microvolts. The ERP signals are buried in ongoing EEG and power line interference and cannot be analyzed using the individual acquisitions. As mentioned, these are relatively small electrical responses to specific events which can be observed only if the EEG traces are averaged over a series of trials. As you can see in this figure, the stimulus is basically the sound. Now if you look at the EEG signal, the large background oscillation make it impossible to detect that the evoked response or the stimulus from a single trial, but averaging across 10 or hundreds of trials, however, removes the background noise leaving the ERP. Further, in ERP, it can be passive and active kind of evoked potential. In this figure, as you can see, showing passive and active potentials corresponding to an ECG signal. In passive case, that is basically due to EEG signal. In passive case, the patient or experimental subject is told to listen to, sometimes passively means they have to just listen, and because of that in the parietal lobe there will be some changes in the EEG signal. It means our brain is working, listening to the tune and recognizing that okay, there is a tune played. Now for active, consider two tunes. In that, one is a rare tune that is played only 20% of the time, and other is the dominant tune, which is played say approximately 80% of the time. Now at the beginning of the test, patient is given the introduction about the tunes. Okay, this tune is the less frequent use and this is the more frequent use. And then the patient is instructed to count only the rare tunes. So now patient not only listens to tunes but also has to distinguish between the tune, which tune is played, and keep a count of that. So these are added activities and there is a change in the ERP signal and an active signal is generated. Now let's discuss some problems related with the ECG signals. In ECG, the sources of noise can be the high frequency noise, it can be the power line interference or the motion artifacts. High frequency noise. ECG signal generally has a nature of low frequency signal. These high frequencies noise could be due to the instrumentation amplifier. You can see in this figure, it shows an ECG signal with high frequency noise. The noise could be, as I mentioned, due to instrumentation amplifiers. It can be due to the recording signals or system. It can be the pickup of ambient electromagnetic signals by the cables. Now, next is the power line interference. The power line interference, basically these signals are of much lower frequency compared to our communication signals, but they are within the band of biomedical signals. The power line waveform, or I can say interference, is mainly at 50 or 60 Hertz. In US, if I say power line is mainly at frequency 60 Hertz, and if I talk about India, it is 50 Hertz. This power line waveform, if it is not pure, it also have harmonics of the fundamental frequency that could also appear. So these signals are of much lower frequency than our communication signals, but they are within the band of biomedical signals. Now we can see from where this interference is coming, how they can interfere with our recordings, with our biomedical signals. When we record the biomedical signal, suppose in a room, and if electricity is there, that means we have the electrical lines which act as a source of electromagnetic interference at power frequency maybe that 50 or 60 Hertz. The cables or leads we are using in recording act as antennas and catches that electromagnetic noise, and that interference gets recorded and get added with the biomedical signal. So we always get a 50 Hertz or 60 Hertz power frequency hum along with the signal. Also, you can see in this figure, it shows a ECG signal with 60 Hertz interference. Also, this noise can be due to the improper grounding of the patient and the ECG machine. The electrical equipments induce 50 or 60 Hertz signal in the input circuit of the ECG machine. For example, air conditioners, elevators which draw heavy power line current. So they can also interfere with the actual ECG signal. So this figure shows a regular or periodic structure of the power line interference. Now, the other type of noise in ECG is motion artifact, noise due to motion artifacts. It can be low frequency artifacts and baseline drift. This figure, you can see it shows the low frequency artifacts in ECG signal. Motion artifacts come from the fact that usually we use patch sensors to the point where we want to connect or collect the potential to make the process non-invasive. These sensors are stick onto the body. So due to motion, the pressure between the skin and sensor changes, and it gives rise to change in contact resistance, resulting in the change in actual signal. Also, these are caused, like I can say, poor contact. It is caused by chest lead ECG signals by coughing, breathing, or large amount of movement of the chest, or when arm or leg is moved in limb lead ECG. So we can say that poor contact cause low frequency artifacts. Also, the polarization of the electrodes contribute to these low frequency artifacts. Now next is the baseline drift, or we can also call it as baseline wandering. Baseline means I can call it as base axis, or we simply call it as x-axis. It appears to move up or down. This causes entire signal to shift from its base. It is maybe due to improper electrodes, that is electrode skin impedance, or the patient's movement and breathing. A large baseline drift may cause the positive or negative peaks to be clipped by the amplifiers or the analog to digital converters. Now next is the other kind of interference, that is maternal interference in the fetal ECG. Now here this figure shows the ECG of a pregnant woman from abdominal and chest leads. So this can be like 1A. If I talk about it, is the ECG signal which is captured by keeping electrodes at chest. We can call it as chest lead electrodes. Other is when we are keeping it at abdominal. So on comparing, we can see that abdominal ECG demonstrates multiple peaks, and or you can also say QRS complexes. If you see, we have separate complexes for mother and fetus. First is the corresponding to only maternal ECG, occurring at the same instant at the QRS complexes on the chest lead, as well as other weaker sections you can compare. So the nominal or non-maternal QRS complexes represent the ECG of the fetus. So now here, if we are more interested in the mother's health, we only need the mother's ECG. But if we are interested in fetus health or fetus ECG, then mother ECG, which is riding on the same signal, is the noise. Similarly, as I mentioned, if you want the mother ECG, then fetus is the noise. So we should be clear that which noise or which signal we want and which signal is contributing to the noise. Now this was all in this lecture. In coming lectures, we will see how we can remove or how we can filter out these artifacts. So for this time, thank you so much.